Whispers of the past, echoes of forgotten times linger in the air. A chilling tale from Indiana, heartland of America. A place where the land stretches wide and the skies seem endless. But beneath this serene facade lies a story that will send shivers down your spine. In its quiet corners, darkness festers. Abandoned buildings stand as silent witnesses to the past. Overgrown cemeteries whisper secrets of those long gone, and dark forests hide shadows that seem to move on their own. This is the story of Ashtonville, a town that seems ordinary at first glance but holds a history that is anything but. A quaint town with a haunting secret. Its streets, lined with old houses and vintage shops, seem peaceful. But as dusk falls, an eerie silence takes over, and the town's true nature begins to reveal itself. A place where the past refuses to die. The ticking of an old clock, the ghostly overlay on a photograph, and the crumbling gravestones in an overgrown cemetery all serve as reminders of the town's dark history. Ashton Manor, its silhouette loomed over the town. An imposing Victorian structure, it stood as a constant reminder of the horrors it held within its walls. A constant reminder of the horrors it held. Locals whispered tales of strange occurrences, of ghostly apparitions, and of a curse that seemed to hang over the town. Tales of tragedy, of madness, of vengeful spirits. The old asylum with its broken windows stood as a testament to the madness that once gripped the town. The cemetery, with its overgrown weeds, held the graves of those who met tragic ends. The air itself felt heavy, laden with unspoken truths and chilling premonitions. Every corner of Ashtonville seemed to hold a secret. Every shadow seemed to hide a story, laden with unspoken truths and chilling premonitions. The old book with mysterious symbols, the dark forest with heavy fog, and the misty landscape with an ominous sky all hinted at something sinister lurking just beneath the surface. Something wicked had stirred in Ashtonville. The dark, stormy sky over the town, the shadowy figure in the misty street, and the flickering streetlight all pointed to a malevolent presence that refused to be ignored. And it wouldn't rest until justice was served. The statue of justice, the gavel striking in a dark courtroom, and the shadowy figure walking away from the town all symbolized the town's desperate need for closure, for an end to the horrors that had plagued it for so long. Harbinger Lane. A name that echoed through the town, whispered in hushed tones and fearful glances. It was a place that no one dared to visit after dusk, a road that seemed to lead to another world entirely. The very mention of it sent shivers down your spine, a chill that settled deep in your bones. Even the name sent shivers down your spine. It was as if the lane itself was alive, breathing, waiting. The stories told of strange occurrences, of people who ventured down Harbinger Lane, and were never quite the same again. They spoke of shadows that moved on their own, of whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The manor stood at its end, isolated, brooding. It was a relic of a bygone era, its walls steeped in history and mystery. The manor had seen generations come and go, and yet it remained, untouched by time, as if it were waiting for something, or someone. Its windows, like vacant eyes, stared out at the world. They seemed to follow you no matter where you stood. It was said that those windows had witnessed countless secrets, that they had seen things that would make the bravest soul tremble. The manor was a silent observer, its gaze unyielding and eternal. The old iron gates groaned, a mournful sound. They had not been opened in years, and the rusted hinges protested with every inch. It was as if the gates themselves were warning you, urging you to turn back. But curiosity is a powerful force, and it drove you forward, despite the growing sense of dread. The driveway, cracked and claimed by weeds, led to the house. Each step you took was a journey into the past, into the unknown. The air grew colder and the silence was deafening. It was as if the very ground beneath your feet was holding its breath, waiting for what was to come. Each step closer sent the heart racing a little faster. The anticipation was palpable, a mix of fear and excitement. You could feel your pulse quicken, the blood rushing in your ears. It was a sensation unlike any other, a thrill that was both exhilarating and terrifying. The front door creaked open. The sound echoed through the stillness, a haunting melody that seemed to resonate with the very soul of the manor. It was an invitation, a beckoning call that you could not ignore. The darkness beyond the door was impenetrable, a void that promised secrets and revelations, as if inviting you into its dark embrace. Inside, shadows danced. They moved with a life of their own, flickering and shifting in the dim light. It was a place where reality and imagination blurred, where the line between the living and the dead was thin. The manor was alive, and it had been waiting for you. Whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls. The manor was awake. It spoke in a language that you could not understand, but the meaning was clear. You were not alone. The manor had stories to tell, secrets to reveal. And as you stood there, in the heart of Harbinger Lane, you knew that you were a part of its story now. John Blackwood, a writer seeking solace. He bought the manor, blind to its history, drawn to its isolation, its air of forgotten grandeur. He felt a presence, a coldness that seeped into his bones. The silence of the manor was deceptive. Broken by creaking floorboards, the rustling of unseen things, John started hearing voices, whispers of conversations from a bygone era. He dismissed them at first, the ramblings of an overworked mind, but the voices persisted, growing stronger, more insistent. The manor held secrets, secrets that whispered through the creaking floorboards and echoed in the empty hallways. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, and the past lingered like a ghostly presence. Locked away in its dusty rooms, hidden within its walls, were stories long forgotten. The air was thick with the scent of neglect, and the walls seemed to hold their breath, waiting for someone to uncover their mysteries. John, a curious historian, discovered a hidden room. He had always been fascinated by the manor's history, and his relentless search led him to this concealed space. Its entrance concealed behind a bookshelf, a clever disguise that had kept it hidden for decades. The bookshelf creaked open, revealing a dark passageway that beckoned him to explore further. Inside, the air was stale, untouched by time. Cobwebs hung like delicate curtains, and the floor was covered in a thick layer of dust. It was as if the room had been frozen in time, waiting for someone to breathe life into it once more. Thick with the scent of decay and forgotten things, the room held a treasure trove of artifacts. Among them, John found a diary, its leather cover worn and pages yellowed with age. Its pages filled with frantic scribblings, detailing a love affair, a betrayal, and a murder most foul. The handwriting was hurried, as if the author had been desperate to get the words down before it was too late. The diary painted a vivid picture of a time long past where passions ran high and secrets were deadly. It spoke of a love affair that had turned sour, leading to a betrayal that ended in murder. The diary belonged to Emily, a former resident of the manor. Her words were filled with emotion, capturing the intensity of her feelings and the darkness that had enveloped her life. A former resident of the manor, Emily had lived a life of passion and tragedy. Her love for a man named Edward was the center of her world, and she wrote of him with a fervor that was palpable. She wrote of her passionate love for a man named Edward. Their love was intense, a bright flame that burned brightly but was destined to be extinguished too soon, and of his untimely demise. Edward's death was a blow from which Emily never recovered. Her diary entries became darker, filled with sorrow and a longing for justice. Murdered within these very walls, Edward's death cast a long shadow over the manor. The room where John stood was the very place where the tragedy had unfolded, and the air seemed to hum with the echoes of the past. Section 5. A ghastly discovery. One night John heard a scream. Blood-curdling, it echoed through the manor. He rushed towards the sound, adrenaline pumping, fear gripping his heart. In the master bedroom he found her, Emily, or rather, her ghost. She stood there, shimmering, translucent, her white gown stained with blood. She pointed a spectral finger towards the fireplace. Her voice, a mournful whisper, pleaded for justice. Then she vanished, leaving John in stunned silence. Section 6. The weight of suspicion. The diary entries pointed to one suspect. Charles, Emily's jealous brother. Driven by greed and envy, he coveted the manor. Was he capable of murder? John delved deeper into the manor's history, uncovering a trail of deceit, betrayal, and long-buried secrets. Each discovery fueled his suspicions. The townsfolk, initially wary of the outsider, started sharing their own tales. Whispers of Charles's volatile nature, his gambling debts, his sudden disappearance after Emily's death. Section 7. Unmasking the truth. John pieced together the fragments of the past, the love affair, the betrayal, the murder. He confronted the truth. Charles had killed for the manor. Driven by greed and jealousy, Charles had silenced his sister's lover, hiding the body within the manor's depths. A secret he took to his grave, but Emily's spirit, restless and seeking justice, refused to let him rest. Her ghostly apparitions, the strange noises, the whispers, they were her cries for help. Section 8. The Ghostly Confession. John, armed with newfound knowledge, confronted Emily's ghost. He demanded answers. Her voice, a mournful whisper, filled the room. She confessed. It wasn't Charles who killed Edward, it was her. Driven to madness by his betrayal, she had struck him down in a fit of jealous rage. Charles, discovering the truth, helped Emily conceal the crime. He took the blame upon himself, disappearing into the night to protect his sister's secret. Section 9. Revelation. The truth was a cruel twist. A revelation that shattered the assumptions. Emily, the seemingly innocent victim, was the architect of her own demise. The manor held its secrets close, whispering them to those who dared to listen. John, forever marked by the experience, left Ashtonville. The manor stood silent once more, its secrets buried deep within its walls. A chilling reminder that sometimes, the dead have their own stories to tell.